All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see for its local search, Haymarket, Virginia looks like, and for its city search, let's see if it has BSS for either of them. So we're out here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pin video, pin post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our, on the left side, well, we got our graph here, our FSIC graph in white. On the left side, we got our highest intent peeps. They're looking for boudoir photographers right now, or, or boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest intent peeps, highest converting, closest to the money. This is the people we focus on reaching here when we make videos about BSS. Way over on the right, the lowest intent peeps, people not searching for boudoir right now. Most of them don't even have any idea what the heck boudoir even is. So talk about some stuff related to reaching those people on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. So we talk about BLCS, and currently over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So boudoir search sameness, that is BSS. So a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, extra bad, because that means we're on page 2 or deeper of Google. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of searches, approximately 80% of the market if we're page 2 or deeper. So, our business is on a fast track to death in that case. And 1 slot on page good, that ain't good either. Because if we got 1 slot, well, there's 10 organic slots there. If we got 1 slot, that means there's 10 other businesses, or 9 other businesses there, boudoir photographers. And everyone most likely has 1 link. And so, as a result, we look the same as everyone else. We don't stand out. We're not looking amazing. Our 1 slot same as everyone else. So what's a buyer going to do? Well, approximately 80% of the buyers, they're just going to click down, open every link page 1, never even go to page 2, but open every link page 1 and actually fill out every contact form, get a quote from everyone, compare, price shop, negotiate, get the most for the least, waste time, and there's going to be like 10% or less of our contact form fill outs are actually going to result in buyers. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which nearly everyone knows about, and also this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So yeah, market saturation, more peeps, become boudoir photographers. Seems like every week, it's kind of people naturally upgrade their gear, get new iPhones, get new camera gear, and peeps, throw up their Google My Business profile saying they're boudoir photographer now. They have their website saying they do boudoir photography. They post in the mom groups on Facebook more, saying they offer boudoir photo shoots. So market saturation, then the false belief of page 1 equality. This has kind of been something boudoir photographers have accepted, where it's kind of like people auto believe that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, when it's not. That's not true at all. What is actually true is Google will give us as many page 1 slots as normal, or as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. So kind of the old school thinking, default original thinking, boudoir photographers like, they got their website ranked, page 1 slot 8. So market saturation, more boudoir photographers come in, their website ranks above theirs. And as a result, they're pushed down to slot 2, page 2, slot 1. So they're sitting there like, man, I hope those people delete their websites and Google de-indexes them so Google can bring me back up on a page 1. But no, dude, that's sit and wait approach, and that's not how Google wants us. That's not how Google will reward us. Google will reward us by actually going, taking as many slots as we want. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we discovered. Next, a boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So, disappearing because if you got 0 slots page 1, you're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, yeah, you're disappearing. If you got only 1 slot page 1 Google, you look same as everyone else, you're still essentially invisible. So yeah, you're disappearing. In both these cases, being a disappearing boudoir photographer means It's kind of like a warning light, a flashing light, the canary in the coal mine that actually our boudoir photography business is now on the path to disappearing as well. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We have discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. And the way it works, it's right in the name, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city, making sure we show up there. And this is like the snow at the top of a mountain. Think of the Andes Mountains down in South America, the snow up there on the eastern side, the backside of those mountains. What actually happens is that, the snow is always melting. It's always snowing there and melting. So the water flows into small streams, small rivers, and eventually all that water collects into the Amazon River. That Amazon River, that's page one Google search. And that means everything starts, everything begins with, getting the snow up to the top of the mountain, and then everything melts from there. And so getting up snow up there, that's SQ methodology to get that snow all the way up there. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to compete and still grow in a market that's getting more and more saturated over time and do it in a relatively quick time frame. On the other hand, the other option is having a large, well-known brand, but dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is taking people's jobs already. We don't have the time to wait 5 to 10 years to build a massive, large brand. But interestingly enough, my estimates actually, if one is using SQ methodology, my estimate is it can actually build a large, well-known brand at approximately 8x the speed as normal traditional methods, simply because we're on so many different surfaces, so much more volume, much higher frequency. And so an example here of SQ methodology, we are now going to go to Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, so let's say we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they boudoir photographer, shoot boudoir photography, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's competing for the hyper competitive page one slots on Google with their website. And we're like, man, we ain't got a large, well-known brand. Literally, the only chance we have to compete is implementing S-cube methodology. So, let's say we take it all the way to the max, where we're, we take literally like the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city across all social search. And then let's say that all flows to Google page one search, and we're taking first 300 slots Google search as well. And it's 10 organic slots per page one on Google. So, we're taking out the first 30 pages. So whenever a boudoir buyer looks for a boudoir photographer in our city, boudoir photo shoot, whatever, they actually, we're basically the only one they can find. So if we're basically the only one people can find, obviously our business is probably going to be the only one growing. And then the competing 999,999 other boudoir photographers, their business will probably be shrinking. And, so this is kind of the extreme case of what SQ methodology can actually enable or give a chance to a boudoir photography business to achieve. Now, once shared with SQ methodology, we now have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more slots page one Google search, but also for each new slot we're kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them visible. A lot of boudoir photographers like this one because they can actually choose how many of their competitors to kick off, basically based on their own effort. Put them on page two or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So put their competitor businesses on the path to becoming disappearing competitor boudoir photography businesses. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. It's because everyone else is probably gonna have one. So okay, our 3 is always gonna dominate. Everyone else has got one link each. And our the super rare chance someone has 2 slots. Well, our 3 slots dominates them as well. Finally, boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our, our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. Thankfully, we now have a solution, S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, on to my results here. I wanted to rank and dominate for this keyword BLCS boudoir. So I use S cubed methodology to do it. Let's see the results. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I'm from 0 slots, 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S cubed methodology. All right, now on to our main event. We got, we're going to see if this boudoir photography business, we're going to see if for its local and for its city searches, see if it has, basically see if it has, copy that. Basically, we're going to see if it has BSS for these searches. All right, so here we go. We got our local search here, Haymarket, Virginia. So going down to the organics. All right, boom, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. Let's see. Those don't count. And boom, we got 4. Boom, we got 5. Boom, we got 6. All right, so dude, awesome. This is really good. So we do not have BSS with this local search, and also we have achieved the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page 1 slots. So really good for local. Then we're gonna look at the DMV, the city search. So let's see what we got here. Now DMV is kind of like a region, so actually gonna be more competitive than the standard city search. All right, we got 0 out of 10, but it's, yeah, it's even harder to rank for than the standard city search. So 0 out of 10. So yeah, we do got BSS for the the city or region search here, DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for that one, but that's a way harder one to rank for. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you have seen you've had BSS for at least one of them. So, you're at 0 or 1 slots, page 1 Google search for, those terms, or at least one of those terms. Or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for any of the local or city searches, any of those keyword highest intent with well-buyer keyword searches. And you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're seeing, hey, I can actually take as many page 1 slots on Google search as I want for as many keywords as I want, and I don't have to sit around and wait and hope Google, people leave the market and Google is nice enough to put me on page 1. And you're seeing that S cubed methodology is the only way to get you there, actually get you those extra slots, page 1 in Google. And you're liking the initial benefits, more slots, page 1 in Google. You really like the second initial benefit, which is basically kicking your competitors off. You're basically getting to decide who becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and whose business, boudoir photography business, starts to disappear by dominating page 1 Google search. You also understand market saturation, and you are, people eventually get more gear, the market becomes more saturated, and as a result, you are looking ahead, saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs right now. AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs into the future as AI gets better and better. And you're like, man, I don't simply need these links on Google, page 1 Google. I actually have to fortify my page 1 position. So no current boudoir photographers in my area can ever rank page 1. And also no future boudoir photographers that come from AI taking their jobs can ever rank page 1. Basically, like I need to have so many links of my links Google wants to rank on page 1 that they're actually backstacking me to page 2, 3, and 4. And you're actually deciding that the best way to get all these links, again, S cubed methodology, get all these backstack links on all these future pages, and really actually fortify your position, kind of like the levees in Nolens, Louisiana. It's kind of fortifying the walls against the ocean because the city is below water. So your SKU methodology is the only solution for that. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future benefits of SKU methodology, or basically you understand that as we execute SKU methodology successfully every single day, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns that are like plugged into your kind of like your cluster, your brand name, your business name, your social handles names, kind of like plugging these invisible thematic keyword columns in. And every day we build that up, we're increasing the probability that you are the one recommended up here, the AI overview and search, because you're just building up so much authority, repetition, relevance, age, with all these different keywords, the size, intent, boudoir buyer keywords. And so you actually want, you want that increased probability percentage every day of being recommended here, because it also comes with increased probability of being recommended through all the AI searches, all the AI search apps. We're building up this like massive backend AI keyword search momentum. It's invisible, but every day it builds and builds and builds. And so that's ChatGPT, that is Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. These are getting more and more popular every single day, increasing search volume every single day, with Google standard search, basically decreasing every single day. And last time I did boudoir photographer search in a city, I used ChatGPT, it returned me 3. I actually did a manual search with Google and Facebook, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta, we gotta find any way possible to get AI search to recommend us, and you realize an SKU methodology is the best way to get these invisible thematic keyword columns built around your brand, your business, your names, all that. You're also like the future benefit of, kind of building your large well-known brand in your area, making it harder for market saturation to ever affect you approximately 8x faster, utilizing SKU methodology. And you also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer for your city. So you actually you get all these benefits, kicking your competitors off page one, and your competitors actually not being able to use these benefits, and you actually build up a large, massive gap in front of them, ahead of them, with these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of this keyword backend AI keyword mindshare momentum that you'll be able to achieve and not your competitors. And that's the reason you decide to be a first mover, adopting this technology, because you understand the converse. If your competitor is the first mover instead, then what actually happens is, they're getting all their links to page one, they're kicking you off page two, off page one, onto page two, onto page, maybe on page three, and fortifying their position so you can basically never get on page one again. Taking all the slots, turn up social search, so you're basically become unfindable. And then we're actually, building up that massive gap AI backend keyword mindshare way ahead of you, maybe to big enough where you can never even catch up. And what actually happens is, for you to compete, you would actually have to rederive SKU methodology, or actually derive it yourself for the first time. You would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our execution every single day. And if you did that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you, because we'd still be executing it every day. So in order to close that gap, you'd have to out execute us, 2 or 3x every single day to begin pulling it back to like backend AI keyword mindshare momentum from me and your competitor back towards yourself. But again, you wouldn't have 100% confidence even putting in the time to do that, because you would never actually know if you've derived this technology correctly in the first place. And you're saying like, dude, who would even have 80 hours per day to do all this anyways? So you decide, screw that. You've decided you're going to be the first mover of your city. You decide you don't want to miss out on this. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But if you want, but when we do open, no, even if you want to contact us, you cannot. Even if you want to work with us right now, you cannot. But when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, it will be announced. Shoot us a DM then, and then we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.